Welcome to the STEM Confidence Podcast, where we talk about how to turn your data into powerful insights. Hello and welcome to another episode of the STEM Confidence Podcast. Today, we are going to address an issue that I've noticed especially in academic circles, which is the hatred of the writing process. So, if you've ever found yourself in front of a blank screen, struggling to put your thoughts into words, this episode is for you. In this episode, we are going to explore how to write even if you hate scientific writing. So let me start by introducing a little bit what I think is the somewhat psychological process behind the writing. First, I would like to say that you don't hate writing itself, you hate thinking about what to write. And this happens because you lack a clear understanding of the message that you want to convey to your readers. The point is that writing and thinking are inseparable. They go hand in hand 100% of the time. And often it is not just about putting words on paper, it is more about organizing your thoughts even before putting words on paper. And to address this issue, I have prepared 3 easy steps that will make the process of writing more manageable, even for those who hate it. So the first thing that you have to do, even before you start writing, is to decide on the main message that you want to deliver. This can be, for example, a result of your research, a conclusion from your data, or even a well-defined question if you are writing a literature review. In any way, it should be something tangible that you have a clear idea on. And once you've identified your central message, try to express it as concisely as possible. This should be a single, clear sentence or idea that somehow encapsulates the essence of your work. The simpler and more focused your idea, the easier it will be for you to build your entire content around this main message. A tip that helps in this situation is to describe the main message of your writing in one sentence. I usually use the sentence "I will write about" and then I say what. So, for example, I could say, I will write about the effects fossil fuel consumption has on the environment. And just this simple exercise of verbalizing your main message helps you sort of set the mood for what comes later. It gives you a clear idea on what you're writing about, and we all know that it is much easier to start with a clear idea. So having this clear focal point can make the entire process of writing much smoother. When you have a clear main message, it not only helps you structure your document, but it also ensures that your readers understand the core of your work. And once you've identified, build your entire story or argument around that central idea. So after you've identified the main message that you want your readers to take away from the piece you are writing, break down the writing process into smaller and more manageable tasks. If you hate writing, thinking about the entire document or article can be very overwhelming. And it can easily lead to procrastination, which is exactly what we don't want. Instead, it is a much better idea to focus on smaller units, like sections or paragraphs. And when you break your writing into smaller tasks, it becomes much less intimidating. A good idea is to set something like mini goals for each section, which will make it much easier to track your writing progress. And by focusing on one paragraph at a time or one section at a time, you not only make the process less daunting, but you also gain a sense of accomplishment as you complete each segment, which is kind of the key to continue the writing process. Okay, so here it is how this would work in practice. So before diving into the writing, you create a detailed outline of your document. It usually helps to break it down into sections, subsections, or even bullet points if you feel it's necessary. And this roadmap provides clarity and direction, making it easier to tackle one piece at a time. Once you have this done, you should assign deadlines for completing each section. This could be a daily, weekly, or even bi-weekly schedule, depending on the size of your writing project. This is very important because setting achievable goals helps you track your progress and stay on course. And finally, you should start with the sections that you find most approachable and those that serve somehow as the foundational pieces of your work. Usually, if we start writing from the part we are more confident with, it serves as a confidence and motivational booster, which is exactly what you need if you don't like writing. Remember that the key to success with this method is consistency. So decide what are you going to write and when, and then stick to this schedule. And finally, once you've established your main message and defined a schedule for your writing, it is time to actually start writing. So how do we start? When I write, there is one method that I always use to get the writing going and when I'm facing this very famous writer's block. And the method is called thought download. It is super simple, yet very effective. You start by writing down whatever thoughts you have about the topic you're working on. And you shouldn't worry about structure or grammar at this point. The idea is to get your ideas out of your head and onto the page. You can sort them out later. By doing a thought download, you create a raw chain of thoughts related to your topic. And once it's all out there, you can start to see patterns and connections in your thoughts. And this can be a great starting point for your writing process. This technique is especially helpful when your mind feels cluttered and you are not sure where to start, which is how we often feel before starting to write a paper or a thesis. When you engage in thought download, you are essentially creating a brainstorming session on paper. What I like to do is to start by setting a timer for a few minutes, perhaps 5 or 10, and during this time, write down anything that comes to your mind about your topic. Again, you shouldn't worry at all about coherence, about grammar, or structure. The aim is to empty your thoughts onto the page. And you will see that this uncensored process can be incredibly liberating. It allows your mind to release the ideas, the concerns, and all the questions that might be holding you back. Very often you will find that within this jumble of thoughts, there are some valuable insights or potential starting points for your writing. So once you've finished your thought download, take a step back and review what you've written. You may notice recurring themes, some key ideas, or even the outline of your main argument emerging from the chaos. And these pieces of information will actually be the building blocks for your written work. So, in conclusion, hating scientific writing doesn't have to be a permanent state of affairs. By understanding the psychological processes behind writing and implementing these tips, you can make the process more approachable and much less daunting. Remember that it is not the act of writing that you dislike, it is the uncertainty about what to write. That's why starting with a clear message, breaking your tasks into smaller parts, and doing the exercise of thought download can all make this process much more manageable. Thank you for listening, and until next time. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you are ready to elevate your communication skills and transform your data into valuable insights, schedule a free discovery call on the link in the description.